Hello out there, this is Wakeangel2K1, and I'm going to give you some advance warning. You are not going to get Happy Angel in this video. Nope, because I spent $25 on this set when I bought it from Toy Wiz because Sonic's 25th anniversary came and went, and the retail launch of these is hella delayed. So I spent twice as much on these figures as they should retailed as, and I am feeling more than a little bit bitter about it. So, yeah, you're gonna get me a little bit surly this time. It is, of course, the Sonic and Shadow 2-pack. Now, Shadow will be available as a single figure, and at retail that would make him about $8.99, which is a good price for figures like this. It's about half as much as the equivalent Jazzwares figures cost, and since they're simpler than that, it's a pretty good price. If you were to go to Toy Wiz right now, you would find that the Shadow single pack costs exactly the same as this 2-pack. So I figured, hey, if I'm going to be spending $25 plus the ridiculous shipping that they charge on Toy Wiz, I may as well get the 2-pack and use the Sonic for something. So let's take another look at this packaging. It advertises articulated joints because, you know, there are action figures in there. So, you know, they have articulated joints. The back of the package shows other figures that will be in this series. There's going to be an Eggman Metal 2-pack. Knuckles covered in bandages, like in that one episode where he was covered in bandages. And Shadow and Sonic, which is what this 2-pack is. Why are you putting that picture? Now, this package gets a minus from me because it does something that I really don't like packages to do. It twists the limbs of the figures. Yes, I really hate it when the packaging bends the plastic of the figures. Like, they're trying to put them in these poses to make it look like they're walking inside the package, but they didn't quite line it upright, so the legs are like twisted off to the side, and you know, when you have only swivel cut joints in the hips and no knees, that's really damaging. So I really do not like packaging that messes up the figures. So let's get them out of this damaging package where they will never be placed again, and take a look at the two figures as they are. So here are the Sonic and Shadow figures removed from the packaging. I used a little bit of heat to straighten out this leg. It had a really badly rolled ankle the first time I got it out, but I applied some heat from actually from the vent on my laptop. That's all the heat that I needed. I hit that leg with the hot air stream coming out of my laptop vent to soften it, and then when it was soft, it naturally went back to its straight shape, and then when it cooled down again, it kind of stayed straight, and now Shadow no longer has that badly rolled ankle. So, hooray. Let us take a look first at Sonic, just to get him out of the way. This Sonic is absolutely identical to any other Sonic figure that you likely have. Yeah, it's the Sonic that has the serious face, you know, that mouth. The almost straight line, slightly frowny mouth. And yeah, you can see the paint isn't quite perfectly applied, as you can see some of his stomach paint is getting onto his bandana. Basically, it is exactly this Sonic. Yeah, that's one of my Series 1 Sonics from when the line first came out, and that's the brand new one. If there's any differences, it's down here, where you can see the new Sonic's feet don't sit as flat as this Sonic's feet do because the legs were twisted in the packaging. I really hate that. So, this is an utterly disposable figure, and if you can help it, just get the Shadow single pack. Unless you don't have Sonic somehow, then go ahead and get them together. But if you have any version of Sonic at all, don't bother. So let's look at the real focus of this set. Shadow the Hedgehog in his boom appearance. This figure is pretty much on par almost with the Wave 1 figures, but he does have one drawback, which makes me want to take points away. I probably would have overlooked it if it had actually been released at retail, but you're not getting Happy Angel, you're getting Surly. I overpaid for this Angel, so I'm going to be as critical as I want. Okay, so at first glance, like, you know, he has a swivel cut head, just like the others. He has universal shoulders, and there's no floppiness to these joints. They're nice and able to hold whatever pose you put them in. That's good, because sometimes the boom figures have floppiness issues, but this one does not. He has only swivel cut hips, so you can have him sit down. You can have him assume a running pose. And the way his legs are sculpted, one leg is designed to be out a little bit farther than the other, so that, you know, he's not standing completely stock straight. There's a little bit of personality in his stance, and I think having just that little bit of personality in the stance is kind of a good thing. See, you can see a slightly bent knee. You can also see the numbers for the manufacturer. But, you know, it's okay. I like that instead of making the figure stand completely stock straight, they gave him just a little bit of personality in his pose without making it feel like he's stuck in a pre-assumed pose you don't want. So, okay, I'll give him that. But now let's zoom in and start talking flaws. Alright, first off, let's take a look at that chest patch. That is just painted on. His buck is a completely smooth surface, and that chest patch is nothing but paint. And then look at his eyes. Look at that. It's kind of coming out there, isn't it? Well, if you take a close look, you can tell it's because he has absolutely no brow. They did not sculpt him any kind of brow ridge detailing. I mean, that's kind of a big oversight for Shadow. I mean, take a look. Sonic, if you take a look at Sonic's head, he has some subtle brow ridging. Yeah, you can see his brow ridge right there. It gives his head some dimensionality. Without that brow ridge, Shadow just kind of looks like his face slopes back weirdly. It looks, despite the fact that it's a physical object, it looks two-dimensional. It just doesn't look good. So yeah, like, it's very important for for Shadow to have a brow ridge, and it really hurts that this figure doesn't have one. Especially since he's such a scowly character. A prominent brow is pretty much, like, exactly how Shadow should look, and he doesn't have that. I mean, I guess I can't really say anything more other than that is a serious facial detail they messed up. And, like, when you consider how simple the detailings are on Sonic characters, the fact that they would actually omit something so basic, it's just, wow. Now, if this was a regular $8 to $9 price point figure, like if I bought it at retail at Toys R Us, I would not complain about any of the paint. I mean, he has the stripes on his head. He has the stripes on the spines there. They're all good. He has the detailing on his gloves. It's a little bit fuzzy, but it's not too bad. I really like the shoe design that he has for the Sonic Boom universe. I mean, they don't have the soap shoe cuts inside of them anymore, but aside from that, they still look okay. I mean, there's no detailing on the bottom, but he does still have it on the front toe. I guess you don't really need that much detailing on the bottom of the foot, especially if you have a figure that's just going to stand. So, and you know, like, once I undid the rolled ankle, he is a little bit top-heavy because of how far back his spines go, but I suppose, given the figure can stand straight without having to lean forward. My desk is a little bit crooked. He stands a lot better this way. He can stand without having to lean forward, and for a guy with that much stuff coming off the back of his head, that's okay. Although, like, his back spines, they're sort of pressed up against each other. that looks kind of weird, especially because, again, to bring out the Sonic figure, Sonic spines aren't that close together. They're distinctly separate from each other. You know? There's one on each of his shoulders. On this thing, it's like they're both bunched up on the small of his back. That's kind of weird. So, I guess there's only one more point of comparison we can bring up, and it's kind of an important one. That's right. We cannot let this slide without having a proper comparison to the original Jazzwares Shadow figure. And as you can see, they pretty much stand shoulder to shoulder. They're the same height. Proportionally speaking, Boom characters have smaller heads and longer bodies, but they also seem to be made to a smaller scale. So, like, I get the feeling that if these were scaled so that they had the same size head, this guy would be noticeably taller. So he just seems to be smaller because there's an optical effect with that smaller head. But the figures actually are the same height. But aside from that, there really is no comparison in quality. The Jazzwares figure is, of course, the better toy. It has his chest tuft is a sculpted in detail. He has the prominent brow ridge that a Sonic figure is supposed to have. So his eyes are set inside of his head instead of appearing to be bulging out of them. He has fully sculpted detailing even on the bottoms of his feet. He actually has lines sculpted in that are painted instead of just having a smooth area with paint on it. Like these guys, they don't compare to the Jazzwares figures. But then again, I guess it wouldn't be a fair comparison because they cost half as much as the Jazzwares figures. Or at least they should cost half as much as the Jazzwares figures. Because remember, this cost me $25. I mean, even if I'm going to be generous and cut the price in half to consider the 2-pack with Sonic, which is not a fair comparison because if you were to buy it as a single, it would still be $25. It would still be $12.50. And considering that this dude originally retailed for $14, that's like a difference of $1.50 between these two, and you know, it still doesn't. He still wins. He wins all of the win. So, yeah. My final verdict on the new Sonic Boom incarnation of Shadow, for $7.99, $8.99, what you would expect to find him at Toys R Us retail, he's worth that. He's okay for that. But do not be like me. Do not become a hopeless Sonic toy addict and find yourself buying this thing on Toy Wiz for the highly inflated preview price. Wait for them to come out at retail. That's my final verdict. This has been Toy Customizer Wakeangel2K1, and hey, look, here's the Cream figure that I made. I didn't give her a video of her own because she's pretty much identical to the last Cream figure that I made. She has a little bit of a problem with the Jazzwares lean, where they molded her legs weird. That is, the Charmy figure's legs were molded weird, so she's kind of tilting her head. I guess she's just gonna be permanently gesticulating. And she comes with a little cheese. Yep, yeah, cream and cheese. Let's give Shadow his little companion. I don't think he'll be friends with cheese, but you know, whatever. Alright, this is Wakeangel2K1 signing off.